How about that wireless charging though?
Wireless charging would be amazing! Yo guys, Jonathan here. Without a doubt, the Galaxy S8 is one of, if not the best smartphones out right now. It's putting a ton of pressure on Apple for the next iPhone release, and that poses the question, is the iPhone 8 worth waiting for?
What model should Apple launch next? Should it be the iPhone 7s, iPhone 7s Plus, and the iPhone 8, or the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 8 Plus?
So while we don't officially know what Apple's gonna be calling their next iPhone, I think they pretty much need to go with the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus, and that really comes down to the Galaxy S8. The iPhone 7 and 7 Plus were unique in the sense that they pretty much shared the exact same design as the iPhone 6 and 6S, and for me what it comes down to, I think if Apple were to release the iPhone 7S and 7S Plus, there would automatically be this mental connection that the 7 would be inferior to the 8 of the Galaxy S8, and I don't think Apple would want to go that route.
Hey John, woke up just now and saw your Instagram story. Wanted to ask which has got a better fingerprint sensor positioning. Is it the iPhone 8 leaks or the Samsung Galaxy S8?
So that is a very interesting question, my friend. I want to preface this by saying I really like the Galaxy S8. It is an amazing phone with amazing features, but the fingerprint reader location is not one of them. Now with Apple, what makes this interesting is for the first time in a really long time, we are actually playing the guessing game. I guess because this will be the 10th anniversary of the iPhone, allegedly Apple is testing like 10 different models, which is crazy. That leaves us in the dark, which I like, but the end result is two possibilities as far as Touch ID goes. The first location, which would be ideal if Apple could pull this off, would be underneath the display. It's very similar to what Samsung did with their Infinity display and their virtual home button. It would just take it one step further with the fingerprint reader on the front of the phone, not forcing Apple to move it towards the back. That though does not seem to be an easy task at all. Samsung could not pull it off the Galaxy S8, and reportedly Apple is having a ton of problems implementing this on their own with the iPhone 8. If that's the case, it's gonna force them to place it on their second option on the back of the phone, right below the Apple logo. Now either way, based off those rumors, I think the iPhone 8 is going to have the better location as far as the fingerprint reader goes, and that honestly comes down to almost a case of winning by default because the placement on the Galaxy S8 is so bad. Unless Apple completely matched that and copied that, they will inherently have a better location. But with that said, if Apple does go the back route, I'm gonna say the LG G6 has a better spot than both these phones.
Hey Jonathan, my name is Nathan from Jakarta, Indonesia, and here's my question for you. What is your favorite feature on the GS8, Galaxy S8, that others doesn't have?
That is pretty much a no-brainer. Hands down, my favorite feature would be big screen. On a serious note though, what I think is really cool and sometimes a little overlooked with the Galaxy S8 is Bluetooth 5.0. And if you're not aware, what that allows for is for the Galaxy S8 to send two separate Bluetooth streams to two separate devices where you can then control them separately and independently.
Hey Jonathan, hope you're doing well. What would you like to see in the next iPhone?
Shout out to your baby. I think he might be hungry, but as far as what I would like to see on the next iPhone, I think I'm gonna reiterate how cool it would be if Apple could successfully implement Touch ID underneath the screen. I would have loved to see Samsung do that with the Galaxy S8. So if Apple could do that with the iPhone 8, it would be amazing. Now beyond that, something that maybe isn't iPhone 8 feature specific, but rather a chess move that Apple could do for Samsung, including higher end headphones with the Galaxy S8, would be to include AirPods with the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus. Is that gonna happen? More than likely not, because Apple's gotta make those margins, but I think that would be a huge selling point and a really attractive feature of the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus. Hey man, this guy wants to know if I like sunsets.
You see that?
Yeah?
Say Rich is your daddy. Rich is my daddy!
Hi, so I'm just wondering, what do you think Google's doing right now to compete with the latest phones on the market, like the iPhone 7 and of course the Galaxy S8? So I just want to know that.
So switching gears for a second from the Galaxy S8 and iPhone 8, as far as what Google is doing to compete with Apple and Samsung, honestly, I think the release of the Pixel and Pixel XL was their move into the game. Sure, it was missing premium features like wireless charging, water resistance, but they made a huge impact with their camera. As many of you know, the Galaxy S8 has a phenomenal camera, but I'm willing to bet there are plenty of Pixel owners out there that would put their camera up against the Galaxy S8 any day of the week, and there's a reason why. So that combined with the fact that it is a pure Google phone with a pure Google experience has kept people satisfied, and so much in fact that they haven't felt the need to jump over to the Galaxy S8.
How do you feel about the wireless charging on the upcoming iPhone?
So for real, talking about wireless charging, and I've talked about this before, if Apple does implement wireless charging, which I think they very well might with the next iPhone, they're going to have to do it right. What I mean by that is taking wireless charging up a notch, because if we're being honest, you know as well as I do, wireless charging right now is not that cool. You still need a dock or a pad, which is then connected to a wire, and then you need to perfectly place your phone on that dock or pad, or if you don't, you might not charge your phone. What would be amazing is if Apple could implement a charging radius where, let's say you place your phone maybe in a 5-foot vicinity, anywhere on there, but it is still getting the charge. That way, maybe say you're going to bed and your whole nightstand becomes that charging zone. Instead of fiddling and messing around with placing it perfectly, you just toss it on there anywhere and you are getting the charge through the night.
Yo, what's up, Jonathan? It is Senshi Pro on YouTube, and I was just wondering how much of video gains do you think the iPhone 8 will be getting, especially with the leaked rumor of the vertical lenses. So thanks.
Now, as far as those video games, which you can get at s2apparel.com, right now, if you haven't seen, there's a rumor of Apple switching the orientation of those dual cameras from horizontal to portrait. Now, the reason behind that switch actually has more to do with what Apple could potentially do with augmented reality as opposed to an improvement in video and picture quality. What I would like to see, however, as far as improvements go, is a better secondary lens. Right now, portrait mode on the 7 Plus is awesome. Having the ability to switch between 2 focal lengths is cool, but when you do that, you definitely notice a quality difference between the 2 lenses. What it comes down to is the secondary lens on the iPhone 7 Plus simply isn't as good as the primary in terms of low light. That has an f-stop of 1.8, whereas the secondary lens has an f-stop of 2.8, so that is a huge difference as far as light goes. With that being said though, if Apple can match those two on the next iPhone so there isn't a huge difference switching back and forth, that would be awesome. Aside from that, thank you guys very much for watching. If you want a chance to be featured in a video just like this, hit me up on Instagram and keep an eye out for the next Q&A. Also, if you want to see how the current iPhone stacks up against the Galaxy S8, check out this video here. This is Jonathan, and I will catch you guys later. I hate the Bixby button, man. I just want to change the volume and hit Bixby.